Alive on the Mounjaro, it's on the pen alive, with your host David Knapp.
Thank you, clap track, and happy Thursday night. I'm Dave Knapp, man of the Mounjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. Saxenda, Wegovy, Ozempic, Trulicity, Mounjaro. That pen. That's why you're here. We're all here to learn a little bit more, not only about the conditions that we have, but the medications that are changing our lives for the better. We're here because it's better done in community. And when you're dealing with an issue, chances are somebody else has dealt with that issue. So we all meet here and we talk about our issues so that we are as equipped as possible, informed as possible, to talk to our medical providing team, our care team, to live our best life, right? So that's why we're here. If you are new here, welcome. Put an N in the chat next to your name so that I know that you're new. Let us know what medication you're on, right? But if you're not new, it's because you're back for more punishment. And I couldn't be more thankful for you. You are the reason that I keep doing this, because you keep showing up. If you stopped showing up, I'd stop doing it. Actually, maybe I wouldn't, because I was just telling Keisha, I entertain myself. So maybe I wouldn't. But thank you so much for being here. Y'all are the best part of what I do. Thank you for being here. We've got a great show for you tonight. I'm so excited to bring a special guest into the show. It's been a couple weeks since we've had a guest on the show. Life has been a little bit crazy for me lately, but I'm so excited to welcome a little bit later on Keisha Dixon into the stream. If you know Keisha, put it in the chat. Let me know that you know Keisha. Let her know how excited you are to have her on the pen tonight. Keisha is a content creator, not only on YouTube, but over on TikTok. And that's where I got to know her content. And she's a hoot. I'm super excited to meet her and talk to her about her journey from Mounjaro to Wegovy, right? So she's going to talk about that. We're just going to have a good time. So I'm excited for that. And we're going to do the normal things that we normally do. We're going to talk about what's fresh in the world of GLP-1s this week. We're going to talk about fake news in the world of GLP-1s this week. And we're just going to have a good time. Y'all ready to have a good time tonight? I am. And I hope you are. It's so good to have you here tonight. So the first thing I want to mention is a shout out to the members. For those who are members of this channel, they give a couple dollars a month to the channel. It helps to support the work that I do here on this channel. So if you would like to also become a member, it's $2.99 a month. You can basically just click the link in the description of this video. It'll take you right to it. A couple bucks a month helps to support the work that I do here on the channel. And I was just telling the members in the members only live stream before the show how encouraging that is to me for those who choose to do that. It helps to motivate me to continue making content, to continue bringing this awesome community together on a week by week basis. We are 15 members away from 100, which is a really big milestone. So if you want to become a member, tonight is the night to finally do it. So I hope that you will. I hope that you will. So we're going to talk about our first little segment of the night that we like to do. It's a little segment that we like to call housekeeping. Housekeeping. You want mint for pillow? So a little bit of housekeeping tonight. Housekeeping is really where we talk about just the channel, like what's going on the channel. And the most exciting thing that I have to tell you about what's going on the channel right now is that we have some really exciting guests, starting with our guest tonight, Keisha Dixon, who is a content creator, a nurse, and she's been on Mounjaro. She's now on Wegovy. She's going to come in. She's going to share about her journey. I'm so excited to meet her because she's an absolute riot. Next week, we've got Dr. Daniel Rosen on, who is a bariatric surgeon from New York City, who's got just gobs of information. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's going to bring some of his knowledge into the stream next week. We've got Lee Fits In, who is another creator over on a TikTok. And Lee is fresh off the Oprah set. He got Oprah'd. So he's going to come over and tell us what it was like to get Oprah'd. And then tentatively, we've got Dr. Spencer Nadolski, who has agreed to me to come on the show. We're just waiting to hear back from him to arrange a time. So Spencer freaking Nadolski. Can you believe that? So a lot of really exciting things in the work for the channel right now. I am so excited for the next couple of weeks that we're going to bring to you, and just an awesome time. I'm super energized by it, and I'm super excited to bring those guests starting tonight with Keisha Dixon to you. As always, we've got a couple of folks who really help take this show to the next level by sponsoring it. The first sponsor is, just a shameless plug for a little company that I have called On the Pen Marketing. You can visit onthepenmarketing.com, where I just help take your small business to the next level from a marketing perspective, right? So we got a little bit different way that we approach marketing and learning about your company and telling your company's story to the world. So if you are interested in taking your marketing to the next level or helping somebody that you know take their small business marketing to the next level, On the Pen Marketing is the company to call. You can check it out on thepenmarketing.com. And we announced this last week, but we have kind of partnered with our friends over at the Plus Sides podcast. If you have not checked out the Plus Sides, I'm using a highly irritating mouse tonight. So I'm scrolling through all my stuff, and then everything just jumps about 30 feet. But last week we announced how the gals over at the Plus Sides are promoting Man on the Mounjaro. We're promoting them. And so here's a little bit more about the Plus Sides podcast.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together. The Plus Sides podcast, because every story deserves to be heard, every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
The gals over at the Plus Sides have been so kind to me, especially my transition over to TikTok. I didn't know what I was doing over there. Kim has been so helpful to me. I've tried to be helpful to Kim and her crew as they've tried to break into the YouTube world. And we're all just, what we're trying to do is just raise awareness about what it's like to live life in a obese body, in a body that is metabolically broken, and just take the stigma out of the words that the world has used to maybe kind of stigmatize us. And this is all about education, right? We're educating ourselves, but we're also educating the world on, hey, did you know that people who struggle with obesity are oftentimes dysregulated in their gut hormones, and these GLP-1s are helping to regulate that and make that right for people? Do you know that things happen chemically in the brain in people who are obese that don't happen in people who are not? Like, there's just things scientifically that happen that we know about now. So like, let's tell the world about it. And the gals over the plus side certainly do a great job with that, and we are thankful for them. And they have put out some great content over there, including an interview with Rosie O'Donnell, which is pretty cool that they got Rosie O'Donnell to talk about her journey with Mounjaro as well. So thank you for supporting those who support Man on the Mounjaro. Appreciate that. We're going to get right into our next segment tonight. Am I frozen? Ooh. I don't know. I hope I'm not frozen.
Alive on the Mounjaro, it's on the Penalime, with your host David Knapp.
Hey. Am I here? This is the first time that I've ever had technical difficulties like this in my entire time streaming on this. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Am I here? Can you hear me? This is we're calling an audible tonight because technical difficulties, right? If you can hear me, I'm streaming now on my phone. Sometimes you got to just do things on the fly. Sometimes it do be like that. Life will throw you a curveball every now and again. And when it does, it's all about how we respond to it, right? So, yeah, I got a new computer. And Keisha, I blame you. So Keisha Dixon got a new Mac Mini, and I thought that's what I need. And I got one, and it's worked marvelously. Actually, it's not your fault, Keisha. I don't know what happened yes, from beyond the grave. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what happened. Computer just completely froze up on me, and which is always fun when you're doing a live stream and you've got no technical people here to help you out. But really what we did, we're pulling it up on the phone, and we'll do it this way. So I hope that works out for everyone here. Yeah. So what were we going to talk about? I think we were about to jump into another segment. So I think we can still roll that from here. Let's talk about what's fresh. So, what is fresh? What is fresh this week? So, there was some really interesting news this week in the world of semaglutide, which I feel like the good news for semaglutide just keeps rolling, keeps rolling, keeps rolling. Every week there is just some astounding study about how semaglutide or GLP-1, you could throw in the whole class of medications in there. I think how they are positively affecting things beyond weight loss, beyond type 2 diabetes. So we've talked about the really positive stuff that's come out about heart health, right? People who struggle with things like heart failure, right? And the outcomes have been improved, reduction in heart attacks, strokes by 20% in a massive trial. We've heard about recently how there are markers that show that people with depression show improvement in their depression symptoms on GLP-1 medication. All sorts of things are coming up. This last week was a really interesting, maybe the most interesting one that I've heard so far. And that was that it's a small study that a doctor is doing or has been doing. And, you know, it's a small subset of patients. And it's like one of those things where it's one of those small trials that, you know, hopefully will encourage Novo Nordisk or the scientific community to do a bigger, broader study on this. But basically, they took recently diagnosed type 1 diabetic patients. So type 1. So all these GLP-1 medications are approved for like type 2 diabetes, right? These were type 1, where, you know, ultimately your pancreas gives out and stops making insulin altogether. So you rely to live on synthetic insulin injections. And so basically in this small trial, they gave semaglutide to folks who had just been diagnosed with type 1, who were on insulin, or recently diagnosed, I should say, who were on insulin to keep their blood sugars down, or to, you know, basically control their blood sugars at all. And over a short period of time on semaglutide, were able to come off their mealtime insulin altogether. And it was only 10 people in this study, but all 10 of them were able to come off of their mealtime insulin. And then, so you got two different kinds of insulin. You got kind that you take at mealtime, and then you have a basal, which is being just like a long acting insulin. 7 out of 10 were able to come off all insulin altogether and saw restoration of their, I think they're called beta cells in their pancreas, which are responsible for helping to make insulin. So we are talking a landmark, groundbreaking study for those with type 1 diabetes. Now, this was a small study done by a doctor that's a part of a university. I can't remember off the top of my head. And of course, I don't have my notes because my computer's all frozen. But what, you know, the hits just keep on coming with GLP-1s and the just life-changing effects that they are having for people. And so it's just a really exciting time to be at the forefront of what these medications can do. And so that kind of leads into some other news about semaglutide, Wegovy, that came out this week, which is that they extended the shortage in the 0.25, the 0.5, and the 1 milligram to basically an indefinite shortage. And now we've covered on this channel, we've talked about this on this channel, but for those who haven't caught those videos, just a quick refresher. Novo Nordisk, unlike Eli Lilly, has not kept up with their manufacturing capacity. They have outsourced a lot of their pen filling to third-party vendors, and they're having issues overseas with their third-party vendors that can't keep their facilities clean up to FDA standards, and so they're getting shut down and their capacity is reduced. So not only do you have this massive demand increase for semaglutide, especially with all this groundbreaking information coming out about semaglutide, but you have you know, an inability to manufacture it. So the shortages of the 0.5, the 0.25, and the 1 milligram are going to be long lasting. People are like, how long is it going to last? Well into 2024, well into 2024 and beyond, to be totally honest with you. Another reason that Eli Lilly is super well positioned to just capture this market entirely, because Novo Nordisk has fumbled this so badly, so remarkably badly. And there's no excuse for it. There's absolutely no excuse for it. But I am thankful for Eli Lilly for the way that they have positioned themselves with the bringing on the plants in North Carolina, bringing on additional plants in Indianapolis, bringing on plants overseas to help keep up with the supply, but also getting approved by having the foresight to get different presentations of Tirzepatide approved by the FDA. And we've covered this extensively on the channel, the vials and the pre-filled pens. Right. So those have been approved by the FDA. So those will hit probably overseas markets before they hit the United States, but they will. Some of those will be available here in time. But they're doing so much to keep out ahead of it. Now, will they be able to keep out ahead of it with the Novo shortages? The Novo shortages are going to contribute ultimately to more Mounjaro shortages. Just the reality. Because Novo can't keep up. People are going to look at Mounjaro, especially once it gets a weight loss indication, and it's going to be a mess. But we're going to be here. We're going to remain here on this channel for you with all the latest, greatest information, the hacks, the things that we can do to stay out ahead of it, the things that we can do to stay on the moon, right? You're going to get from Dave Knapp, man on the Mounjaro. And that's where you're going to get it from this community, because there's so many in this community who are constantly sharing just gobs of good information. And so we'll be here. So another good reason to make sure that you like this channel and that you subscribe to this channel. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can become a member of this channel as well. So that's what's fresh in the world of GLP-1s this week. Just some really, really exciting information. And I'm excited for, the future of what these medications have to offer outside of the indications that we're even looking at now, because we know that even with Tirzepatide, we're looking at things like heart health, and we're looking at things like liver health. We're looking at things like sleep apnea, all things that Tirzepatide can help. But then we've got our good friend Retatrutide, or Retatrutide, which is in the works, which is going to be even a greater game changer. And when we talk about Retatrutide, that brings us to tonight's fake news. Take out the trash, because there's some we got to talk about. So this is a page right out of Sue's Happy Fun Time Pharmacy Playbook. I noticed this week a major influx in bootleg. So we've talked about bootleg Mounjaro. We've talked about bootleg Semaglutide. How about bootleg Retatrutide? It's here, and it's being marketed, and it's being marketed aggressively. So I've already warned you about these bootleg options. Run far, far, far away from them. Anything that does not require a prescription is not something you should be screwing around with putting in your body. Period. Full stop. I want to tell you another warning about Retatrutide specifically that is not something that people have to worry about with Tirzepatide or Semaglutide, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Ozempic. Retatrutide is unique because Retatrutide acts, or Retatrutide acts on a third receptor. So you've got Wegovy, Ozempic that act on GLP-1, which is an incretin hormone. Then Mounjaro took it to the next level and says, we're going to act on another incretin hormone. We're going to act on the GIP, right? Retatrutide said to Mounjaro, we're going to do you one better. We're going to act on another incretin hormone, the glucagon hormone. Well, what have we learned about glucagon receptor agonists in the past? Other pharmaceutical companies have tested and abandoned tests of glucagon receptor agonists because glucagon receptor agonists have a propensity to cause, in some people, heart arrhythmias. Okay? They're studying this in Retatrutide. This is something that Eli Lilly has addressed in their conference calls. We've talked about it on this channel. Another reason that you need to follow this channel and stay on top of all this information. But Retatrutide, because it acts on the glucagon receptor, has a propensity to cause heart arrhythmias in a small amount of people who take it. But here's my concern, is that with this bootleg stuff coming out, people are going to save $1, they're going to go right to the highest dose of this stuff. No titration schedule, nothing, with no idea how they're going to respond in a cardiac way to this. And this is a big problem. This is a big problem beyond the issues that you've seen with Semaglutide and Tirzepatide. is that retatrutide has that glucagon receptor agonist that can cause cardiac issues. It's fine if it's done in a controlled environment under a doctor's supervision in a clinical trial, which is all the farther that it's gotten right now. It's got clinical trials. They're in phase 3 clinical trials for weight loss. They're about to start phase 3 clinical trials for diabetes. Let me tell you, if you get an ad to purchase retatrutide, you run as far away from that as possible. And somebody else I just saw, Clark Kent, said retatrutide was also shown in phase 2 trials to increase heart rate for the first few months. And that some people experience that with the other GLP-1s as well. It's a little bit higher even yet with retatrutide. So there are cardiac concerns for certain people, which is just another reason why this should never be done outside of doctor supervision. And so this is my warning for you this week, is that if you see an article or an advertisement for retatrutide, it's 100% something that you need to run away from. It is only in clinical trials right now. And be aware and be educated as to what the potential concerns are with those that you maybe didn't see with some of the other peptides that are out there. So thank you for bearing with me there. And please be vigilant and run far away from people that are trying to sell you peptides that aren't even approved by the FDA. And that's all I got to say about the matter. So this is a little bit interesting for me, streaming from this tiny phone on StreamYard. This is a little bit of a challenge tonight, so please bear with me tonight. But I am excited to bring into the stream tonight. We've got a hot channel tonight, which I'm excited for because, like I said, it's been a few weeks since we have had a guest on the show. And I told you tonight that we have one of our best guests that we've ever had on this show. I'm really excited to bring her in. Tonight's guest is Keisha Dixon. And if Keisha's good to go, I'm good to go. We're excited to bring her in and chat with her a little bit tonight. So tonight, I'm excited to present to you our hot channel.
Hot channel.
Hot channel. Keisha Dixon. Let's bring her in. Keisha, how's it going? I hope it's going better for you than it is for me.
Your commercials and stuff are so good and so funny.
Oh, ridiculous is another word for it. But we have fun, right? We will never be accused of not having fun on this channel.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Hilarious.
It's so nice to meet you. And you were so kind to give some of your time to this stream. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor to meet you. I'm
so glad to be here. Who else would I want to talk to? You are a brilliant mind. I love people like you.
Oh, bless your heart. And I love people like you. So before I came over to TikTok, over here on YouTube, the format is long, the content is long, which is great, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a content creator, you know this as well as I do. It's so hard to consume long form content when you're making long form content.
Yes.
There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
So I really got to know you and your content when I came to TikTok. And I was like, oh man, I've been missing out. So first of all, let's take care of some business. Where can people find you? Like, where do you post the most, and what are your call outs? And then I'll make sure to get them in the description of this video later on.
So on TikTok, mostly, that's where my largest following is. You can find me at Charge Nurse Keisha, at Almond Eyes. And on YouTube, you can find me at Keisha Dixon, as well as Facebook, Keisha Dixon.
So Facebook, if you're on Facebook, YouTube if you're on YouTube, but then your biggest channel is TikTok.
Yes.
You got a big following over there.
Yeah.
TikTok is fun. It's fun because you can just do so much so quick over there. Like,
yes.
I started trying to kind of make similar content for TikTok that I do for YouTube. And I really quickly learned that it's way more fun to just make goofy stuff over there. So like if you catch my TikToks from when I first started, it was like breaking news, it was like serious stuff. And now like I've got like little shorts about
You mix it up.
Yeah,
And I like that.
I like to keep it light for sure, because I think, like a lot of this can be serious and heavy for a lot of people. I mean, people who have struggled with obesity, it can be a really heavy topic for people.
Yeah.
And so I like to bring the information and keep people informed, especially like when I first started my YouTube, it was like it blew up because of the coupon, right? So I was like, oh, I gotta keep making content, keep making news. But like I think what I learned very quickly is like the community carries a heavy burden. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your story, your journey to the GLP-1s, like how you got on GLP-1s to start with?
Yeah, first of all, let me just tell everybody, for those of you who don't know, I am a nurse by trade. I've been a nurse for 22 years, and I started out in cardiology. The heart is my love. It's my love. I love the heart. And then 12 years ago, I got breast cancer. And breast cancer led me to the hospital that I work at now here in Houston. I work at the #1 trauma center. And working at this hospital made me fall in love with traumas. First of all, I found out that I had breast cancer through a trauma. I was in a T-bone collision and broke my clavicle, and through the scans, that's where I discovered that I had breast cancer. And working at this hospital, I fell in love with the trauma of it all, like all the trauma cases. I fell in love with that. And so through my through that cancer recovery and all of the treatments that I was going through, my oncologist had me on these high dose steroids. And being on the steroids, that caused me to gain about 60, 70 pounds. So I'm a short person. I'm 5'2". I never really was a heavy, I never was an obese person. I might have been overweight, but I never was obese until really after my chemo and radiation treatments. And then last year, I went on vacation with a couple of my friends. We went to Miami, and in my photographs, when I got back home, I didn't recognize myself in the photographs. So I felt like when I was smiling in my pictures, you couldn't tell if my eyes were open or closed. And then I just didn't look like myself. Now, I've never been an insecure person. I've always felt like I was an attractive girl. Even being on the heavier side, I've always been happy. But when I came home and I didn't recognize myself in the photos, I asked my husband, like, when did I get this big? Like, it just was like a epiphany to me. Like, I'm really like a big person. I really need to do something about this. I need to get ahead of this. It's out of control. How did I let this happen? All of the questions that a lot of us have. So I had an emergency room physician who was taking Mounjaro. She had an eating disorder. I think she was binge eating. Well, she has a history of binge eating, and her doctor recommended Mounjaro to her. And so she was taking it. She was telling us about it. She told my friend about it. My friend told me about it, and I was like, I don't know. I was really skeptical, which a lot of people who aren't familiar with this medication, and especially when you find out that it's an injection and you're not accustomed to taking medication as an injection, you get real skeptical, and you be like, this is too much. Well, the physician and my friend also lost a lot of weight in 1 month's time. My friend specifically, I saw her lose 15 pounds in 1 month. And when she lost weight, I was like, okay, I need to try this, because if my friend can do this, I know I can do it. So that's when I started. I started back probably when you started, Dave, when the coupon came out, when Eli Lilly was giving the coupon out to everybody. So I was blessed to be in that group of people who was able to get the coupon and only pay $25 for Mounjaro. So that's when my journey started. Last year, September 13th is when I actually started. And as of today, I'm down 61 pounds total.
That is an amazing story, and there's like there's so much I could like go off and I have so many questions. So the first question I have is like, all right, so the first thing that you have to understand about me is I'm a person of faith, and I believe that God does things, everything has purpose behind it, right?
telling you.
So first, I want to understand this correctly. You were in a car wreck, and that car wreck led you to find out that you had breast cancer?
Do you understand me? And here's the key. I found it, and it was in an early stage. As in my experience, people find out that they have cancer when it is stage 3, stage 4,
when it's
like
causing
when they start
problems.
being symptomatic, right? So the fact that I was able to find out in the early stage, and early prevention is the best. Early detection is the best prevention. So the fact that mine was a stage 2, and I knew that it was curable, it was destiny for me to be in that. That was supposed to happen for me that way. So yeah, that's how I found out.
So you are it's interesting to me because I have it's a long story, but we have some people who have recently come into our lives who have some children that are our age, right? So they're a little bit farther ahead of us in life, but they have a daughter that's my age who last year was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I don't mean to make this about breast cancer, but I just think it's interesting because it seems like women are getting that younger and younger.
Yes.
What is that about? Like,
well, here's the thing. I know with breast cancer, there are certain breast cancers that are hereditary. And so with me, I carry the gene. My family, we carry the gene forward. We get breast cancer early in my family. I've had several cousins who have had breast cancer or ovarian cancer because the gene that we carry attacks the reproductive system. Okay. And it's called BRCA. So I got breast cancer. And when I got breast cancer, my family, all the girls in my family, we did genetic testing because that's available to everybody now. And so with genetic testing, my sister tested positive. She had to have a mastectomy. My mom tested positive. She had to have a mastectomy. My niece, my oldest niece, who is 24 now, tested positive. She had to have a mastectomy. And thankfully, my daughter, when she turned 18, tested negative. So she followed her dad's side of the family.
You do not have an 18-year-old daughter.
I'm telling you, my daughter will be 20 in November.
No, that's made up. That's made up. I can't trust anything else this woman says.
I'm telling you. I'm 46 day. I look young.
No. Now you're really playing with me.
Listen.
I don't believe that for a second. Wow. Well, 40, whatever you said, 40 and change has treated you very well. So you go through treatment, you go through that whole thing.
Yeah.
You find yourself like kind of like, I don't want to say dysmorphia because that's probably not what you were getting at, but like you're seeing yourself in the mirror and you're not really recognizing yourself. And you go to work and basically there's people who are seeing success on GLP-1s. Did I get that?
Yeah.
So that leads you to Mounjaro. You got roped in by the bait and switch coupon. They got you on Mounjaro. You see a bunch of success, and then the rug gets pulled out from under you just like it did everybody else.
Yes.
All right. Yes. So I got that part right.
Expired. My coupon expired, Lord have mercy. And then my insurance company said they would cover it. It was on my formulary and we didn't need a prior authorization. They paid for one script for me. It was like, that's it.
They're like, Merry Christmas, you get one.
Yes, it changed in 15 days. Yeah.
I saw one of your videos and you had like a stack of Mounjaro boxes. So I thought, man, Keisha's doing all right. And then the next thing I know, you're like shaking a Wegovy bottle in front of the camera. I'm like, or a box in front of the camera. I'm like, oh, I guess maybe those were empty boxes. But okay, so this is what I was really excited. I mean, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. I knew that I wanted to talk about this. And so thank you for giving me the background on your journey here, because that's just, that's a miraculous journey to where you're at today. And you know, like, how can you deny that was divine intervention to get you? I mean, the Lord works in mysterious ways. So the part of it that has you switching over to Wegovy, I think this is a lot of people's story, because people got on that bait and switch coupon. They got the rug pulled out. Everybody stockpiled in June, and now they're running out of their medicine. And so they're looking at Wegovy, which now Wegovy's in shortage. So you've been fortunate enough to get it. Now, you told me in a live stream on TikTok, you're like, I'm switching to Wegovy. And I was like, yeah, but not to the highest dose, right? And you're like, I'm going to the 2.4. And I was like, I hope that treats you well. Tell us.
You warned me.
I warned you.
Okay, warned me.
So tell me and tell everybody, how has that transition been? What have you? I mean, I know you've experienced some stuff, but I'll let you tell your story, and you tell people how that transition has gone for you.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say this. Everybody's journey is different. This is just my journey. This is my experience, guys. Everybody's journey is different. Not everybody is going to have crazy side effects. Okay. I'm super sensitive to medications. Super sensitive. I was sensitive to Mounjaro. It took me months for my body to get acclimated and accustomed to it. And I should have known when you said that to me, Dave, I should have even thought about that then, about how my body is really sensitive to medications. However, I thought because I had been on the highest dose of Mounjaro and my provider was using the conversion scale, which tells him which dose to put his patients on, I trusted that. And I still trust it. But here's the thing. When I was on Mounjaro, I never could take Mounjaro every week. I couldn't. I had to do every 10 to 14 days because my body was so sensitive to it. And with Wegovy, I feel like my body is doing the same exact thing. Now, with Mounjaro, I could play around with my pregame, and like my body would give me indications when I needed to do stuff. But however, on Wegovy, I feel like with pre-gaming, it's a must. Like, I have to do it on the daily basis. I cannot miss a day where, I don't take my vitamin. I can't miss a day where I don't make sure I have electrolytes in or my protein on board, because the appetite suppression on Wegovy is real. So I really do like Wegovy. I just feel like the side effects to the medication is what's getting me. Last week I was at work, and the biggest thing with Wegovy for me is the appetite suppression. I'm having a hard time eating, so I have been doing more protein. I've been eating more calories. I've been drinking the Ensure High Cal. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but there's an Ensure High Cal where when you miss a meal and you feel like you're starting to put your body in starvation mode, it would behoove you to get that Ensure High Cal so that you can stay on track. So I've even been doing that, but I've been having dizziness, orthostatic dizziness. That's when you sit for a long period of time and stand quickly. Like, I have to take my time, make sure I'm grounded before I start walking. Okay, that's one thing that's happening, and that hasn't resolved yet. It hasn't resolved yet. And then another thing that started this week is the leg cramping, and I feel like I'm hydrated. I feel like I am, so I'm not understanding why I'm having the muscle contractions in my legs and my feet and my calves that I never had that with Mounjaro, unless I was intentionally dehydrated, meaning like I wasn't drinking like I'm supposed to. But I am drinking on Wegovy, and I don't understand why I'm having the leg cramping.
Interesting. And what do you, just out of curiosity, what do you use for electrolytes?
Pedialyte. I do
Okay.
I do Pedialyte and Gatorade. So
Okay.
and then yesterday I just started with the liquid IV because and I only started the liquid IV because last week when I had that syncope episode at work, the very next day I went into an urgent care just to get my blood levels done because I wanted to know what my electrolytes were. I wanted to have an EKG done because I've had a cardiologist in the past, secondary to all of my issues that I had on the chemo and radiation. I just wanted to make sure everything was good for me because I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
And everything was fine except for my sodium was low a little bit.
Yeah.
So I got an IV infusion of what they call lactated ringers. It's packed with vitamins and nutrients and stuff like that. And so I started the liquid IV because liquid IV has an increased amount of sodium more than Pedialyte or Gatorade.
Yeah. That's what I found is that so this is a quick plug for one that I found. So I found this before Mounjaro, but it's called Keto Essential Electrolytes. So my doctor put me on strict keto for a year after I was diagnosed type 2 diabetes. I was on it for a full year and then I started Mounjaro. And so I actually found this while I was on keto because I got really low potassium when I was on keto because you shed all those electrolytes. And so he's like, drink bone broth, bone broth, bone broth. I'm like, I ain't drinking that nasty crap. I'm not drinking bone broth. That's disgusting. So,
but I mean, you can make bone broth palatable.
I mean, some people might be. It ain't for me. So I'm like, give me something in a can that I can mix with something that doesn't taste like cow juice. So I found this stuff. It's called Keto Essential Electrolytes. And I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I do have an Amazon affiliate link. But if you go to onthepen.com, my website, and scroll down, there's a canister. Check that one out because it's of all of the different electrolyte powders that I found, it has lots of potassium, lots of magnesium, and lots of sodium. So if you're somebody who has like high blood pressure and you need to avoid lots of sodium, maybe not for you. Also, it's disgusting. It's like drinking table salt that mildly tastes like a fruit, but it's got plenty of those things. And it really, really helped because I get those muscle spasms too on Mounjaro. If I'm not taking my electrolytes, what happens is I feel nauseous, fatigue, and I get those muscle spasms too. So it may be because like Gatorade, Pedialyte's a little bit better, but Gatorade just doesn't have very much of those things in it. So might be a little plug for those. I don't know, maybe not, but definitely for those in the chat who, if that's something that you struggle with, I really recommend those Keto Essential Electrolytes. I keep trying to tell the guy, like, you need to rebrand these to like GLP-1 electrolytes. But yeah, that might be something to look at because people in the chat, even while you're talking, were like, when my potassium gets low, that happens to me. And that potassium is nothing to mess around with. But
it's really not. It's really not. And another thing that I noticed too on Wegovy, that I urinate a lot. And when you urinate a lot, you are depleting your potassium. So that's another thing. I wasn't doing that on Mounjaro. And it's like every time I go to the bathroom, immediately after my legs start cramping. So I know that it's an electrolyte imbalance. I'm just trying to figure out, how do I keep it in check? If I'm drinking, I started the liquid IV. I will look into that. I will look into the keto. What is it called?
It's called Keto Essentials or something like that. I can't remember, but it's on my website. If you go to onthepen.com and just scroll down, there's a picture of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, maybe it'll work for some people. Maybe it won't. Cheryl says I should do a giveaway of them. I should do that sometime. I mean, like, honestly, it's like that potassium too. Like when I think of the issues that you were having with your, I know you said you got all your electrolytes checked and your potassium was good, but for the sake of those in the chat, this is why you need to follow Keisha, because she's a nurse and like her information, like you had a video today that was so good about water retention and obesity. Yeah. Like I'd never heard any of that. And I was like, man, that's really good information. So follow her channel because she gives tons of information like this. But if you are struggling in the chat or in the audience with these types of issues, like potassium is nothing to play around with, because potassium can cause issues with your heart. Potassium can cause heart palpitations. Matter of fact, my son, who is young, he's 9 years old, was in the ER a few weeks ago with really low potassium levels from dehydration, just from playing outside all day and not, replenishing electrolytes. So that's nothing to play around with. And that's why I say, like, if you're feeling off, like fuzzy, nauseous, like sometimes it's just how the GLP-1s treat you, right? But sometimes for some people, it could be potassium. And it's nothing to mess around with, because your body, and you could probably speak to this better than I could, but like when you start losing weight, you start shedding, what is it? Glucagon, like your glucagon stores.
Am I saying that glucagon stores you start using glucagon for energy. Right. So then your glucagon stores get depleted.
And with that glucagon, don't your electrolytes kind of go with it? Like your potassium and magnesium?
Exactly. You start urinating a lot, you start shedding all of that excess fluid, and with that fluid leaves your electrolytes. And here's the thing about what you were saying about the potassium, and this is especially for diabetic patients and patients who have cardiovascular disease. When you start the muscle cramping, and or you have increased urination and your electrolytes get off, you'll start having what they call angina, and that's like discomfort on your chest. If you have like muscle cramping in your back, it could be referred pain. That can play a part in you having irregular heartbeats, which are called arrhythmias. If you already have an irregular heartbeat, it makes it worse. So when you have those type of issues, that's not something that a person who has cardiovascular disease or a patient who has diabetes, because most times when you have diabetes, you have some other type of cardiovascular issue, whether it be hypertension, congestive heart failure, some type of cardiovascular issue you will have that couples diabetes. So you are the patient that has to come in. It's better to be safe than sorry, and at least get an EKG done where we can track your rhythm, and at least get your blood work drawn so that we can track your electrolytes, especially that potassium, because you don't want to sit at home and have what we call in the medical field a silent killer, which is a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack. So you have to take that very, very seriously, your electrolytes, if you're a cardiovascular patient or a diabetic patient.
Yeah, excellent advice. I can't stress it enough. If you have not followed Keisha's channel, it is equal parts. I mean, your delivery on some of these topics is just so on point. So like what I appreciate about your content is that you blend like humor in to what you do too. So like I think about when that news broke like last week about Novo Nordisk, and what was it? Something about their
when they opened up, when they presented the Wegovy in the UK. I was like, are you freaking serious? Are you kidding me? When you have so many people here who are not able to get this medication, and we're the ones that's paying the most for it, even though I know it's a governmental issue, you still getting the coins from us. So what is going on? I can't believe that.
Her video started. She said, Novo Nordisk, can you please come to the front of the class? I had like a little bit of a like PTSD reaction to that. David Knapp to the front of the class, please. Yeah, no. So it's like equal parts humor, but like your videos are so loaded with information, and I really appreciate the information that you bring from the nurse's perspective, from the medical side of things, because obviously you've seen a lot in your job, and so like being able to help people identify, like, sometimes it's just the GLP-1 side effect, right? But sometimes it can be serious, and so knowing when a side effect is just a side effect, and when a side effect is something serious and needs to have attention, I think like that's really great content that you offer to people.
You know what, Dave? Here's the reality. Just seeing people come in and out of the ER. A lot of people have diagnoses that they just don't understand, and they don't realize how serious they are. They don't know the plan of care. They don't know the indications for medications, and they don't know things that they can do at home to prevent things from escalating. So I try to, in a comical way, grab them, and then on the cool, educate. You understand what I'm saying? So that's really
and you do a marvelous job of it. You really do. Because there's a lot that people can benefit from learning just medically. And one of the things that I've been astounded by, Donna with a 1999 super chat. Thank you, Donna. That's so kind and generous of you. Biggest super chat of the night chooses the injection site. That's always the case on the show. I think I forgot to mention it when my computer decided to blow up. I want to talk about that just for 2 seconds too before you go. But I am astounded by the amount of people who get put on a GLP-1 and they come into like a live stream on my TikTok and they're like, yeah, my doctor just gave me this and didn't tell me anything about it. And I'm like, and that's, I think, the benefit of you do lives over there, you do lives over here. And for me, at least, I'm always like, this isn't medical advice, but what you do get is a community of people who are on the same thing. Right? We're all on the pen. So if you're dealing with it, chances are somebody else in here has dealt with it. And we can at least help contextualize what you're going through so that you can go to your doctor and go, hey, I'm dealing with this and I don't think it's quite normal. Or I'm dealing with this and, I heard that you can do this, but what do you recommend? Just equipping people to have the most informed conversations with their doctors is really what I'm all about on this channel, and I know you're all about that on your channel, and even more so because you're a medical professional. So I always appreciate the medical professionals that give their time to the community to educate on the cool. And you're a trip. Like every video that I see, I'm like, oh, that's so great. Just finding a way, and because I appreciate, because I try to do the same thing too. Like I think I did a short today about like diarrhea. Like some people get diarrhea on Mounjaro. It's a thing. Just like making light of things. Like it doesn't have to be this, heavy thing that freaks people out about taking these medications. Like, just know that it's normal and know what you can do to deal with it.
Yeah. And another important thing to me, Dave, is just the empowerment of it all. I honestly think that people want to know, they just don't know what to ask, and so a lot of times that will keep them from having conversations with their doctors. So I feel like if I can at least put it on their mind, I feel like when I'm talking to the camera, like I'm actually talking to the person. Like I try to set myself up in a way where I'm having a personal conversation or interaction or engagement with my viewers, because I'm really passionate about what I'm trying to teach, and I want people to get it, and I want them to get it to a point where if their doctors are trying to remain willfully ignorant, that they go in, with guns loaded. They know what they're talking about. They know why they're talking about it. And they should have a level of, expectation, coming back, with the doctor. And if the doctor wants to be willfully ignorant about what's going on in the GLP community, then they have to be confident enough to move on, because this medication is really a medical miracle, and it is saving so many lives. And there is still a large demographic of people who still don't know. It trips me out when I get people in the emergency room or clinical observation. That's where I'm the charge nurse of clinical observation, and I work in the ER. People will come in and their blood sugars will be 500, 600, 700, just crazy. And I'll ask, are you familiar with Mounjaro? Have you been on Ozempic? And they're like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it just blows my mind. And I'm always asking this, especially if it's I'm not going to say non-compliant diabetic, but an uncontrolled diabetic patient. I'm like, why have their doctors not talked with them about these GLP-1 medications? A lot of people still don't know. They still don't know.
Yeah. Which is just astounding. And I think that kind of speaks to, like, you have to have the right PCP. I always, maybe I have this right and maybe I have this wrong, but I always think, like, some primary cares have to be a jack of all trades, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. I think that's like one of the areas where I think why nurse practitioners have become such a critical part of the GLP-1 proliferation is because, this has been huge for telehealth, right? It's not hard to get on a telehealth appointment and say, hey, here's my labs, and I'm 5'11" and 300 pounds. Probably an ideal candidate for a GLP-1. So a lot of these NPs have really learned a lot about these medications, where you could go into a PCP and you get your type 2 diabetes diagnosis, and they go, here's your prescription for metformin and X amount of units of insulin, right?
Yes.
And then we're just, continuing to fight it the same old way, when there's these groundbreaking medications that really just help to restore that function. And even what I shared earlier in the stream about how Semaglutide is restoring beta cell function in the pancreas in type 1 diabetics.
Yes.
So I can imagine you seeing that, like
a miracle.
Yes.
You hear me? It's a miracle.
Absolutely.
Dave, let me tell you why nurse practitioners work hard. Well, I don't want to say all nurse practitioners. Let me just say it this way. In my experience, I feel like the difference between a nurse practitioner prescribing and getting it more than the majority of the PCPs is because nurse practitioners have once been at the bedside. We spend more time, the nurses spend more time with the patients. So we hear the stories. We have more time at the bedside. Doctors, they come in, they do their 10, 15-minute questions, and then they're out. However, we're there with them 12 hours. So we meet their families. We hear about their history, what happened to them last year, their whole their surgery history, their medical history. We know every medication that they've been on. We know the pharmacies that they're using. We know everything about these people. So I feel like a nurse practitioner have more of a understanding for that type of patient, because we see what the doctors don't see. So that's why I feel like nurse practitioners work harder and take more time with the patient, because we have that experience where doctors don't. They just don't.
Yeah. Maybe instead of work harder as a blanket statement, work differently. And I can totally see that. Like, you are on the front lines, right?
Yes.
Where most of their work is done behind a computer screen.
Yes.
Yours is done with flesh and blood. And
yes.
what the life impact of not giving a patient information, or giving a patient inadequate information, or even just heartless information. I think sometimes that's like a complaint of doctors, is like everything is just like, here's the deal and go, and without any like concept of how that's going to affect somebody psychologically or mentally, and how that's going to have cascading effects through the rest of their lives, which will affect their health.
In their defense, Dave, when we're on, we may have six to 8 patients at a time, whereas they have like 100. So, I get it. I get it. I understand it. But just saying, the word choice, we work differently. So that was a great word choice.
Right. Yeah. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. I don't want to hold you hostage here all night tonight, but I have really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that you will come back and we can do this again, because I think there's there's never a shortage of information to talk about. I mean,
I'm telling you.
I do a show every week, and somehow I come up with content, because even in the slower weeks, there's still things to talk about. And I think there's going to be, I keep telling my wife, I'm like, wait till this weight loss indication comes. There's going to be
Oh my
one,
God.
like y'all in the chat.
We not ready. We're really not ready.
No, be prepared. Yeah. So it's going to take people like me who, like has a passion for building community, has a passion for creating content, and people like you who have the clinical knowledge and I couldn't get over that video today on, because like when I consume content or when I learn about, like I've been on keto and learning about insulin and insulin resistance and how that all affects your metabolism for 20 years since I first learned about Atkins diet when I was overweight as like a senior in high school. And then spent the next 20 years of my life trying to like mentally learn the things I needed to do to overcome obesity. And then I found Mounjaro, right? And now, so like I have some mental knowledge because I've consumed so much information. But like when I saw your video today on the water retention and what is it called? The third spacing. The third spacing. Yeah. I said, I got a fourth spacing. I got fluids everywhere. But the third spacing, like I never even heard that. And so again, just one more plug for Keisha's content. We got to band together because there's gonna be so many people and non-diabetics, right? There's a lot of people there who are diabetics who have, at least if they're here, it's because they want to learn more, so they have an appetite to learn more. Like non-diabetics, people who are obese are arguably maybe going to have even less information. And so just us being able to help them be, again, equipped to have the most competent and intelligent and informed conversations with their medical providers as possible is going to be so important.
Yes.
You're going to be an important voice in that. I'm going to be an important voice in that. And more importantly, the community is going to be such an important voice in that. And so I couldn't be more grateful for you giving some time to the stream tonight. And I hope that you'll do it again.
And thank you for everything that you do, Dave. I love your content. I absolutely.
Oh, that's very.
I've
that's
told
very
you
sweet.
before, you're my go-to person for like facts.
Well, I so appreciate that. I try to, as much bandwidth as a dad of 4 little kids working a big boy job like can have. Like, it's just, ask my wife. I obsess about this. She got a job for the first time in 10 years. All my kids are like school age now, and so she went back to be a teacher, and they all go to school with her at the same school. So like, it's been a huge change because she's homeschooled for 10 years, and been at home for 10 years. So like all these changes, but like she's working now, so she can put up with my obsession a little bit easier because she's got stuff to do.
Because she has stuff to do.
Yeah, she's got work like outside of the homework to do. But she could attest to the fact that this has been an obsession of mine since I got on this medication. And I just I'm the type of person, when I learn about something, I need to talk about it. It's like
same.
It's been a great outlet for me, and I'm just glad that the information resonates with people, and so excited to meet people like you, Keisha. I think of other people that I've met along the way, like just such great people, whether it's people who are in the medical field, people who are just on the journey. Like, it's just all been so enjoyable. And you're at the top of my list. I mean, I've really enjoyed this conversation tonight, so I can't wait to do it again.
Likewise.
All right, make sure you get over and follow Keisha Dixon she's over here on YouTube. She's linked in the title of this video. So all you have to do is click that and then hit subscribe. You're going to find her on TikTok. She's the same screen name. That's like from AOL Instant Messenger days. She's the same handle. She's the same handle over TikTok, Almond Eyes, right? With 2 A's and a Z at the end. Almond Eyes on TikTok. And then she's, what is the Facebook?
Keisha Alpha Dixon.
Okay.
And then on YouTube, Keisha Dixon.
Okay. So make sure that you go over and thank you, Stacy, for the super sticker. I appreciate you, Stacy. Make sure you give her a follow, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for being here, Keisha.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Have a good night. That was an awesome conversation. Like, I get so much energy from these conversations with people who are as passionate about this as I am. Like when you're passionate about something and then you come across the path of somebody who's equally as passionate about something, I mean, it gives me so much energy and so much excitement to talk about it. I am so grateful for people like Keisha who give of their time to this community. If you could just give her some love in the chat, let Keisha know that we appreciated her being here tonight, and make sure that you give her a follow over here on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you're at. How was it? Did y'all enjoy it? Like, I've been so engrossed in this conversation and dealing with the technical difficulties that I have had very little interaction with the chat tonight. So I apologize for that, because usually I like to have more interaction with the chat than I do. But just lots of great information tonight, and you can continue to get more great information from Keisha by going to all of her socials. Thank you. I forgot to say at the beginning of the stream that the biggest super chat of the night gets to choose my injection site. So Stacy gave a $2.99 super chat. This is what I saw, and then Donna gave a $19.99 super chat. So I think for the second week in a row, Donna, I think that means that Donna is at least for now, she's the one that gets to pick where this goes. But before we end that, I just want to interact with the chat a little bit. I want to hear from you. Let's just talk real quick before we log off tonight. What are some of your high? This is what we do at the dinner table at the Knapp household every night. What are some of your forehead? Yeah, hey, $20, you get to choose it. This is what we do at the Knapp dinner table every night. So we talk about our one high from the day, one high point from the day, one low point from the day. If you have a high or a low from the week, I want to hear it in the chat. Let's just celebrate some things together. Let's work through some things together for a couple minutes. We'll give maybe another 8 or 9 minutes before we end the stream. Deb, welcome here. I just want to welcome some of these people that are here. Thank you. Amy with another super sticker. Thank you, Amy, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Terrence, thank you for being here. Amy, Keisha, of course, thank you for being here. Donna, Terrence, Anna, Sue the Dude, Sean, thank you for being here. Miss Tapman, thank you for being here. Miss Tapman is the reason that I brought up to Amy or to Keisha, to Keisha when she switched over to Wegovy. He's like, don't go to the highest dose. And Miss Tapman was exactly who I had in mind. Omar, welcome to the stream. That looks like a new name to me. I'm glad that you're here. Natalie, if I've missed you, my apologies. Cheryl, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all being here tonight. A high of the week, a low of the week. Amy says the low of the week was work. Cheers. And the high was laughs. Great. And I hope that you got some of that here, Amy. I am so thankful for you. You interact with my content a lot. Thank you for the super stickers, the super chats on the videos that you do. Amy, it's so good to have you here. And you've been here for a few months now. So thank you for continuing to come. Donna said, high was compound semaglutide on the way. All right. Low, dizzy from using up the 15 milligram stash. Yeah. So I'm really intrigued to hear, Donna, how that switch to the semaglutide goes. I mean, honestly hear so much good stuff about the compounds. A low point Monday night Cheryl said, took my puppy to urgent care because his blood sugar crashed. That is got to be a scary thing. And like, how do you even tell with your puppy that they're, like, how do they act so that you even know their blood sugars are low? I think Keisha is still taking the 2.4. Sue's gazing into my beautiful face was the high for the week. Yeah, right. Well, just imagine being me and getting to look at this in the mirror every day. I mean, Dave dying. Yeah, that was wild. Doggy Mounjaro. Well, Mounjaro would do the opposite if they were having low blood sugar. You need doggy like glucose tablets. Vanessa, hey, I didn't see that you're here. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Still off meds as I go for insulin testing in 2 weeks. Not much weight gain. I've been going up. Okay. Thank you for being here. Jennifer's high was reaching 62-pound weight loss. I think we're going to do this every week. High reaching 62-pound weight loss. Low appear to be stuck here at 62-pound loss. Yeah, I mean, Jennifer, if it makes you feel any better, I've been stuck at 30-pound weight loss for like 5 months. Sean, high watching this stream. Thank you for sharing that. Sean, thank you for all the comments on the videos here all week too. Again, I've been slacking at responding to the comments. Life has been so busy. I'm just happy to be able to pull the show off every week. High for Miss Tapman, she was prescribed the one, but the low is that you can't get it. I hope that you can check Amazon. I think, hospital pharmacies is another thing that people continue to kind of see success with. So, and Keisha's still on the 2.4. Keisha's high is the show. My high is for sure the show. Absolutely. And Keisha coming on to the show. My low was forgetting to follow up with her and make sure she got the link before this started. Another low for me was in the middle of the stream when my computer decided to freeze, but I'm so grateful that you all stuck with the stream through all that. So thank you for sticking with me. Deb's high was hit 71-pound weight loss and found out her new kitten has ringworm was her low. That sucks. But hopefully that's something you can figure out. Stacy, thank you for being here, Stacy. Low was work. That's the second time I've heard that. High, everything clicked with my RD this week, and it has zero to do with that number on the scale. I love it. I love it. And Stacy, I don't know if you create content over here on YouTube, but Stacy creates content over on TikTok. She's got birds. It's a whole deal. Make sure you give her a follow. Miss Tapman was on the 15 MJ until the coupon ran out, and then she had to switch to Wegovy, and she switched over to the high dose, and it did not go well for her. So we're hoping that you get that figured out. So thank you for the high lows of the week. Cheryl said, hi, someone thought my sister was my mom. Was it a high because like you knew that your sister felt bad because of that? Is that what's going on here? Or that you just looked that young? Right? It could go either way. But awesome, Cheryl. Thank you for sharing those today. That was fun. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're the best part of what I do here at Man on the Mounjaro. It looks to me like for the second week in a row that Donna, who is helping to put my kids through college, gets to choose where I'm injecting this. So I'm going to inject this in the arm per her request. I'm glad that she didn't stick with the forehead. So thank you for that, Donna. I'm going to somehow do this. But yeah, I am just super, super, super excited for the next few weeks on the show. It's going to be amazing. We've got some great guests. Tonight did not disappoint, right? If tonight's show did not disappoint, please put it in the chat and let me know. I'm going to inject here in my arm. Dunzo. Thank you, Donna, for not choosing the stomach again. I feel like that's what people always choose. My stomach's getting a little spotty. Yeah. This was a great show. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate your encouragement. It means the world to me. There are several people on here who go out of their way to encourage me every week. And I just can't tell you. I mean, everybody, especially the members of this channel who are probably the 84 people who are still left here. Did we get any? I think earlier in the show, Abby gifted 5 memberships, which means we're 10 away from 100. That is awesome. Bring Mimi and Sue and Keisha together on one episode. I try, Vanessa, I try every week to get Sue on the show. One of these days, once he gets the 50 milligrams and loses that extra 10 pounds, he's going to come on. Miss T, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have you over on TikTok, Miss T. I love to see your videos. So thank you. Share them with me when you make them so I can make sure that I see them. Vanessa, you still got to come on the show sometime. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to meet you. So yeah, thank you all. This has been a great show. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking with me through the technical difficulties. That was so appreciated. Make sure if you want to do me 2 favors, right? These are the greatest things that you could do for me to help me with this video for the rest of the week. Hit the like before you go. So stop right now. Hit the little thumbs up button is all I ask. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down button. But if you hit the thumbs down button, your soul is dead. Hit that thumbs up button. That's going to help before you go. And then once I log off here, find this video again and just leave a comment and let people know how good it was. Those are 2 things that are going to help more people see that throughout the week. Everybody should see this show. This was one of my favorite shows that we've done. in the history of the show. I really, really enjoyed the conversation tonight, despite the technical difficulties. Thank you for being here, Anna. I appreciate you, Anna. Thank you for being a member of the channel. Thank you, Sue, for moderating tonight. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Donna, for the super chat. Thank you, Miss T, for being Miss T. You're all so wonderful to me. Thank you so much for being the best part of this channel. We're going to do this again next week, and we're going to do this with Dr. Daniel Rosen, if all goes according to plan, which I couldn't be more excited for. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being you. If you need to get a hold of me this week, mounjaroman@gmail.com is how you can do that. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for those who share information with me all week long. Thank you for Sue the Dude, who feeds me so much information for the show. Sue, you are an invaluable part of Man on the Mounjaro. Thank you all for being the best part of what we do, and we're going to catch you next week. And until then, I just hope y'all have a wonderful week. Hope y'all enjoy yourselves, and we'll catch you on the next one.